Hey, Kuwait, Dundun here, and in this video I want to talk about a small feature I added to Dundun recently, and specifically a very tiny user experience tweak I made that I could only really see by designing it in code. So here's the simple feature. In the people section, you are now able to send invites to all the unregistered users in your account in one button click. So in the past, we didn't have this button you see here. Instead, if you wanted to send invites, you'd have to individually go down to all the people that have not yet registered and click these invitation buttons manually. So we want to get rid of that, give folks a single place to do that. So as I mentioned in previous videos, when I am building features, I'm not starting out in Figma. I'm not starting out with much of a spec. I'm writing in code and iterating things as we go. And so my initial take here was to have a button here that when you click it, they'll show you this little alert just because we are going to be bulk emailing a bunch of people to make sure that that's what you want to do. And then you click send invites. So in my first iteration, you click send invites. I have this little sending loader here. And once it's done, you can see that the success alert has popped down and we're done. Now, I feel like in most cases, if we were to spec something out like this, that's kind of what we would spec out. Button, there's a sending state, and then there's the final alert. But when I'm actually using this, it feels a little bit odd for me to click on this, have the invite sent out, and then have this button still be here. Even though I see the alert, it feels like this should go away. And that's not something that I think I would typically catch if I'm in a design phase or if I'm sort of sketching out what this feature is. It's really something that I feel like you really get a sense of once you've designed it in code, once you're actually working with it. And so I went ahead and did a quick revision, added a new state to this particular feature that tracks when you've actually sent the invite. So now when we click it, we send the invites, you can see that the button disappears and you get the success alert. That feels a lot smoother to me. Now, of course, I can come back out here and then go back to people. You can see that the button comes back again, and that's fine. That's what should happen because these folks have not yet registered. But as soon as I click that button once when I'm on the screen, that button goes away. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is I feel like oftentimes when we're developing to a spec, we're really developing to the details of what's written in that spec and not really thinking about the thing we're building. We feel like we're done with development when we've checked off all the boxes of all the things that the specification says. And my business partner, Mike, has always had a really simple saying, which is use the app. And it's something we used to tell our developers at our old consulting business, where oftentimes we will get to the point where things are ready to be reviewed and somebody will review it and there'll be an obvious thing that's just missing, that just doesn't feel right. That if you use the app, not from a developer perspective, but from the perspective of a user, it would become obvious to you. So this is an example of a very simple thing that, again, I feel like if I were designing a spec for it, I might have missed, but because I have no specs, I have no design files I'm going against, I'm actually building it and designing it as we go. These are things that I am catching all the time before we get to that final place for people to review it. So it's my simple tip for today, to just use the app as you're developing, whether or not you're using a spec or not, and hope you enjoyed this video.